What's going on, guys? This is the Edge DFS. We're coming to you live. How's it going? My name is Tyson Smith, joined by Ali Hernandez. We are on show 3 today. We're talking Buccaneers versus the Washington football team. Another game without a real quarterback. Ellie, what's going on, man? Are you going to pop open a Heineke tonight?
Yeah, I am going to do that. As awful as that sounded, that was a terrible joke, but I appreciate it.
I'm on a roll today. Might as well.
Yeah. And my phone auto-corrected it to Heineken anyway, so it kind of works out, you know. But I will be drinking. It is officially that time. If you didn't notice, I was drinking through the last show, audience, so I'm ready to go.
Games and get some more Truly.
Yeah.
So, thanks for joining us, guys. We appreciate it. We got about an hour and 13 minutes to lock. We're going to break down each position here. We'll get you to our fate of the night, our captain choice. We'll build lineups together, and then we'll shoot the shit a little bit right before lock. We'll take you past lock, and we'll look at some of the ownership. So while you guys are trickling in, throw us a like if you don't mind. We really appreciate it. All right, Ellie, another playoff game.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs?
How are you doing in the Rams game? Did you get a lot of Rams defense?
I got 0 Rams defense. I think it's going to be okay. I get that they have a touchdown, but you know, I don't anticipate this to continue to go their way. Right? Seattle is the better team. They should end up winning this game. So I expect Russell Wilson to come through and kind of fix this a little bit. But if not, I got a dumbass parlay that has the Rams winning. So, you know, whatever, man.
Aren't most parlays dumbass parlays?
Yeah. So that was redundant.
Oh, man. All right. What the hell game are we doing now? Jeez, my mind is melted at this point. Let's get right into it here. We're looking at Tampa Bay versus the Washington football team. The first team ever to not have a name and not have a starting quarterback. We've got Taylor. What's this guy's name? Taylor Heineke starting quarterback. There were rumors earlier in the week that he was getting half the snaps. I didn't quite know why. I thought maybe it was a decoy or something. But turns out Alex Smith isn't even active. I really hope that Washington can keep it close. I mean, can Washington win this game and get Alex Smith another shot? I doubt it. They're minus 475 favorites. Tampa Bay is on the road. Tampa Bay is the 6th seed. Washington is the 3 seed just by default. They don't deserve that seed at all, but they did win their division. So, Ellie, what pops out to you besides the fact that this actually looks like if you were to, erase the team names on the left and the seed and everything, this would look like a League of Legends Vegas line here. Minus 475, 10-point spread, 45 total. Ton of ownership is coming in on Tampa Bay. 5-1 stacks, 4-2s at best. Like, can we get to 3-3 stacks in this game? Like, is there going to be enough offense scored by Washington? How do you think this game is going to go down? How can we actually be a little bit different when it comes to showdown?
Yeah, man. So, we're going to end up seeing a lot of 4-2 stacks. 5-1 it's really difficult to win with a 5-1 stack, just to be completely honest. So I think 4-2 is kind of the way to go here. But I do think 3-3 is viable. I understand that there is a very good chance that Tampa Bay beats the shit out of the Washington football team. A team has no name. We should. I mean, too late in the season, but that would have been a cool slide. But look, this is a professional team. They have pride in the fact that they won their division, and they just who did they play? They got fucking Dallas or whatever. No, it wasn't Dallas. The other shitty team, not the Giants. I can't even fucking remember the team. Philly. Yeah, I can't even remember Philly as a team.
Epic. They just gave up, basically. I mean, Alex Smith could barely hold on in that game. He must have been hurting in that game, because if the Eagles left Jalen Hurts in that game, they would have won the game.
100%.
And Washington would not be playing.
So, I think Washington's going to have a chip on their shoulder for that. And it's a little bit different preparing for Tom Brady than it is for Jalen Hurts in a 4-7 or 5-11 team, or 5-10, whatever they were. So I would expect a much more prepared Washington defense. And I would expect a run game that's going to be very, very, very utilized. Yeah. So I don't know, man. I definitely think that Washington has the defense to keep this close. And we saw what happened with Seattle a couple years ago. Granted, there's no Marshawn Lynch in this game, but it's a home game for them. They have an opportunity to win this. Also, Washington, we know is not 12-4.
Yeah, that's fucked up. I'm sorry.
Not enough shows today, man.
Wishful thinking. Yeah, there's way too many damn shows going on today. But you guys get the point. All right. So, look, if you're talking about a team at home with a 17.5 point total in Washington, who do we play? Who are we comfortable playing from Washington? Look, the biggest thing to lead off with here is Taylor Heineke is $6,000, and he's a starting quarterback on Showdown. He's $3,000 to $4,000 cheaper than we've seen most quarterbacks this year. I think the lowest was Ben DiNucci at 8,400, I believe. So you're talking about a quarterback at 6,000. He's projected right around 15 fantasy points, even if he comes in at 12 fantasy points for this game. You're talking about a guy who is 6,000. He's going to touch the ball every single down. How do you not plug him into every single lineup, similar to an NBA backup that's underpriced and is getting 35 minutes? How do you avoid him today?
I don't know that you do. I mean, look, they have.
I'm not saying I want to. Trust me. I'm saying, what are you doing?
Honestly, I feel like this Washington team is the perfect team to help out a quarterback who has no idea what the fuck is going on. J.D. McKissick can literally. I mean, we talked about this on the last show. You want to hit your tight ends. You want to hit your running backs in the flat. Holy shit! There you go. We got J.D. McKissick, who you can easily target out of the backfield as a dump off and a safety valve for the Heineke man. Or you can or you can hit Logan Thomas, again, another safety valve for a young quarterback. Or I don't even know if he's young, for a random quarterback. So I definitely think that at 6K you can stack up, and you might even be able to get this is the road to 3-3 stacks. So I think you can grab him and you can throw in a couple pieces, because there's going to be some points to go around. And it's again, at 6K, I'd rather have a guy who's going to touch the ball on every single snap.
Exactly. This is an easy lock. I've already submitted my lineups. I have him in 95% of my lineups. So
you crazy asshole.
I'm putting my money where my mouth is here. I mean, honestly, it to me, the chance of him being in the optimal lineup at that price, touching the ball every single time, even if he has a shitty game, most likely he's going to throw for a touchdown. Most likely he's going to throw for 200 yards or even 150 yards. You're still getting a guy at that price tag that you can pretty much guarantee you're going to get 10 fantasy points out of. And and he has an upward ceiling of maybe 15 to 20 points if he can actually get a random rushing touchdown or something strange. I'm just going to embrace him today. Let us know in the chat what you guys are thinking about Taylor Heineke, if you guys are embracing him, if you like him or not. I just personally think you can't get past him in this particular game. And especially at his ownership, I think he's hovering around 30%, which is nuts. And he's like less than 10% in the captain. All right, let's move over to injuries. We have inactives out, thankfully. So all the information we need is available here. Let's move over to the slide. So I don't even know why I have LaShawn McCoy here. Not even worth noting. Alex Smith is officially out, as we know. Antonio Gibson was questionable with the toe, but he is active. Scary Terry McLaurin, questionable with an ankle, but he is active. Is there any question mark when it comes to these guys and their effectiveness? I know this is a playoff team. I know they played last week. Are you worried about Antonio Gibson or McLaurin with the questionable tag there?
I am not, actually. This is the last game of the season, and it probably is the last game of the season for the Washington football team, right? So I definitely think you're going to get a bunch of people who are ready to ball out. I love McLaurin, and I think Antonio Gibson is a solid play. Honestly, I think you can, if you don't want Heineke for whatever reason, you can go McKissick, Gibson, and McLaurin. I think be pretty solid. So I love Washington today. I think they're fine. The only thing to keep in mind is the Bucs do have one of the top rush defenses in the NFL. We know how Todd Bowles likes to stop the run. So it does give me a little bit more pause when it comes to Antonio Gibson, because he may not get as much work out of in the passing game.
Yeah.
So, but again, I think that just benefits McKissick. So it's going to depend on what game script you're projecting here. I think it's going to be competitive enough that you can probably play both McKissick and Gibson despite the injury. And McLaurin's their best receiver, so he'll play.
Yeah, he's matchup proof. I get it. You have to have someone who can actually throw him the ball. But when it comes to Antonio Gibson, in the past we've always loved Antonio Gibson. We've loved pairing Gibson and McKissick in the same lineup because look, they're on this field at the same time in a lot of cases. In this particular case, I'm a little bit under when it comes to Antonio Gibson. I'm just not loving him in this matchup. We know it's a bad matchup for them. And look, if they're down by 2 touchdowns in the third quarter, or they're down by 3 touchdowns in the third quarter, they're not going to be handing the ball off to Antonio Gibson. They're going to be dinking and dumping to J.D. McKissick. I think McKissick, based on the game script, he gets a huge boost in this particular game. He wasn't really popping in the optimizer. I had to manually boost him a little bit just simply because I feel like he's going to get a lot more volume. Dude has a ton of targets this year. We've talked about McKissick. He has over 100 targets this year. So him and Kamara, they're on the field at the same time. Just trust the fact that unless he gets injured like he almost did last week, you can almost guarantee he's going to get 5, 6, 7 targets, in my opinion. Are you as high on Antonio Gibson as you usually are? Are you going to be a little bit around the field? I think he's around 35%. Are you going to stick with that? Are you getting any of him in captain also? No,
I won't have Antonio Gibson. God damn it! What is it? I won't have Gibson at captain today. And honestly, I may not get too much of him this slate anyways. He's priced really nicely, and I think it might be a trap, to be honest with you.
I totally agree.
It's just too good of a run defense, and unless they score quickly at the beginning of the game and their defense holds and they're able to maybe go up 10, I really just don't see what script is going to keep Gibson in this game. So McKissick's likely going to be the guy that's going to get most of the run. Now, if you want to talk about him a captain, that's a different story.
Oh, yeah. We'll get into that. We'll get into that for sure. All right, let's get right into the breakdown. All right. So we're going to move over here. This is our Captain Crunch segment. I shared this on Twitter. This is this isn't an end-all be-all for building for you guys. It's just to give you an idea. If you don't have time to really crunch out some lineups, these are just going to be some of your top options here when it comes to the captain. Basically, all these names on the left, I crunched out 250 lineups per this name at captain, and I sorted by high projected points, by ceiling, et cetera, et cetera. So, Ellie, what jumps out to you here? Tom Brady, Ronald Jones, Taylor Heineke getting the highest projected point lineups, as well as some of the higher ceiling lineups. You get Antonio Brown with a high ceiling. What jumps out to you here? Look at the dupes too. Now we have a larger field. It's a lot different than it was for this morning.
Yeah, man. Look, I think this is a game where this is going to get a little bit more complicated, right? Just because we have such a variance. We would expect Chris Godwin and Antonio Brown to have kind of these exaggerated ceilings, right? The 176 and 174. And Antonio Brown, I actually kind of like him. I mean, I think that's probably because of his pricing that's going to allow you to get a little bit more of the middling ownership and the higher ceiling. But I mean, he's got touchdowns in 3 straight weeks now or something along those lines. And Tom Brady's starting to build a routine with him. So I think he stands out as potential captain option on this slide. Tyler Heineke or Taylor, whatever the fuck his name is. That's ballsy, man. That's really ballsy. And I think there's a way to get there. And I think you put that in a 20 max type contest. I think that's fine. But I want to see what his projections at the captain look like before I get too crazy there, because 6K is super cheap. I would expect people to start jamming a 6K quarterback into that spot, regardless of, everything else. We know that they're going to have to throw. So I think it's viable, but I want to see how duped it is.
All right, so just to give you a heads up where I'm at, I have 50% captain Taylor Heineke, FYI.
Jesus.
Bring it on, bro. All right, let's get into the actual breakdown here. Anything else to talk about here on this screen before we start breaking each position down?
No, I think we're okay.
All right, let me switch over here. And hit us up in the chat, guys. Let us know what some of your favorite captain options are. We appreciate you joining us. All right, let me zoom in here. Captain. All right, so Tom Brady is at 10.8K. I feel like that's a little low for him, don't you? Like, especially in this particular matchup. I know that the pricing is all based around who else is playing and things like that, but 10.8K feels a little low for Tom Brady. Spoiler alert, I have 100% Tom Brady. What about you? 10.8K, you just get there, right?
Yeah, I think you do. First of all, Chase Young gave Tom Brady some bulletin board material, right? I mean, you come after the GOAT and 6 Super Bowl rings, say, hey, I'm coming after you, right? This is probably the worst Chase Young impersonation ever. I'm not exactly a terrifying athlete.
Bitch.
Yeah, pretty much. So, I do think there's a world where Tom Brady may struggle in this game. I think he's priced down because they're giving some respect to the Washington defense. But I don't think Tom Brady's washed up quite yet. I think old Noodle Arm's going to go out there and do okay tonight.
I agree.
So he will probably be in every lineup I have. See, here's the thing, dude. It's like it's really hard. It's really hard to judge his postseason performance based on his regular season. The dude is literally the greatest postseason quarterback that we've ever seen, right? So let's see what happens and how he can lead the team. I think he's pretty much a lock.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a situation, and we talk about this every showdown. It's like, do you have to play both quarterbacks in the flex, or both quarterbacks in your lineup in general? And I think, typically speaking, you'd probably lean towards yes, just because they have that higher upside. But there's a situation where Tom Brady might just not even be needed. If Ronald Jones and Fournette absolutely go off, if it's third and fourth quarter garbage time, if this game gets out of hand real quick, which I could absolutely see it happening, there's a situation where Tom Brady throws for 3 touchdown passes in the first quarter, and then or 2 touchdown passes, things like that, and then he's just pretty much just handing the ball off the rest of the game. I don't necessarily see that happening. We all know that Bruce Arians is very aggressive. I think that Tom Brady should be in every one of your lineups. That's my advice, and that's what I've literally done today. But look, if you were to say that you faded Tom Brady in a couple of like single bullets into the Millie Maker or whatever the biggest tournament is, fine. That's a good way to get different. So with Taylor Heineke, what's going to be your exposure to him? Like, we've already beaten this to death here, but it's hard not to talk about the most obvious value play on the slate. One of the most obvious value plays we've seen in a long time, considering the fact that this guy touches the ball every single down. So look, Taylor Heineke, are you locking him into the majority of your flex positions?
Yeah, I don't know how I'm not going to. Let me see if I can look at this a little bit closer.
His median projection's 15.
Who do we have at 6K? I mean, you got Logan Thomas, 66. You got Gronk, 5,800. I mean, none of these guys are going to be projected for what a quarterback gets. I mean, J.D. McKissick's probably the closest at 5,400, maybe 12 points. So look, I don't know how I'm not going to have him in every lineup. If he's projected for 15 points, he's going to be in the optimal.
Absolutely.
I mean, if he obviously hits 15 points.
Absolutely. But look, on your end, search for players that are projected for around 15, like sort by projected points overall in the slate, and see who's around him in that area. Because I want to see,
Chris
the price
Godwin.
tag. So what, Godwin's what, like 8,400 or 9K or something like that?
10-2.
See what I mean? You're saving $4,000. I'm not saying don't play Godwin. I'm just saying there's no reason to not play Tyler Heineke, in my opinion. And he's going to be grossly underowned because people don't like, this is a primetime game. There's going to probably be a little bit more casual fans playing tonight. They don't know who the fuck Taylor Heineke is. I don't know who the fuck this guy is, but I know by looking at the numbers, we should be playing him. All right, so let's move on to running back here for Tampa Bay. Ronald Jones, 7,200, really good price for him. This is a team that's favored by 10 points. At a certain point, they're just going to have to hand this guy the rock. The biggest question here is not whether or not do we play Ronald Jones or do we prioritize the running backs here. It's which running back are we going to have to get to. Leonard Fournette's 4,600. Leonard Fournette has, he's seen his fair share of upside this year, but can he get there now? It's trending more towards Ronald Jones being that number one guy, obviously. So who are you prioritizing here? Ronald Jones, Fournette, can you get them both in the same lineup?
Yeah, sure. I don't know if you need to. I think they're going to throw. I think they're going to throw most of the game. Washington has an incredibly strong defensive line. So I'm kind of concerned that Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette are going to struggle in that capacity. I mean, Daron Payne is a good defensive run stopper. Excuse me. They've got quality defenders, so I think they have more weapons on the wide receiver side, and I think they're going to utilize that. So I will get exposure here, kind of as I need to. I may prioritize a little bit of Ronald Jones just because he is projected kind of low as far as ownership goes. But other than that, I don't think I'm getting to Fournette. I don't give a shit about Keshawn Vaughn. I don't think Leonard Fournette's the guy when we have a healthy Ronald Jones.
I've got 88% Ronald Jones, FYI, and I've got 24% Leonard Fournette. So
you got one in each lineup?
At least one, but mostly it's going to be, I'm going to be a few lineups that overlap with both of them.
Got it.
So, I mean, look, at 33% Ronald Jones on a team that's favored, I just think I love his upside here. If we look at the snap rate lately, last week, Ronald Jones got 52% of the snaps. Leonard Fournette got 41%. Ronald Jones has been out for a minute. Leonard Fournette has has Ronald Jones been injured? Let's look at this. 17. Yeah, he's been out for week 15 and 16.
Yeah, COVID.
That's right. So look, he's got some fresh legs at this point. I mean, he did well. How did he do last week? 13 fantasy points. Look, I know it says it's red there based on his salary, but if Ronald Jones scores 13 fantasy points in this particular game, I can pretty much almost guarantee that he'll probably be in a few winning lineups, I would assume. So anything to talk about here before we move on to the other side?
No, I think we're right on there.
So Antonio Gibson was questionable. He's active for the game today. I don't anticipate any limit for him. He should be at full strength, but there's always a chance with a guy that's questionable, getting hurt again, re-aggravating that injury. So I wouldn't go super heavy on Antonio Gibson. I'm right around the field with him, around 35%-ish. I'm really high on J.D. McKissic, right? Antonio Gibson's 8K. J.D. McKissic is the kind of guy that will be worked into this offense, dink and dump left and right. He's at 5,400, under 30% ownership. You kind of have to work to get him in because of his projection is just not necessarily popping as much. When it comes to Peyton Barber, he's at 600. I think he's a one lineup kind of guy. If you have 50 plus lineups or something, I'm not going to lean towards him. There's a potential for Barber to get a vulture goal line touchdown. We've seen it before. And then if Antonio Gibson needs a break. If he's not feeling well, if his injury is re-aggravated, Peyton Barber could come in for that, but I just don't see a need to get to Peyton Barber. So how are you handling this situation here? Higher on J.D. McKissic, correct?
Yeah, I love J.D. McKissic. I mean, that's way too cheap. It's just way too cheap. He's going to get a shitload of run. And, I mean, he didn't have a great game last week, but, 8 targets. I don't know what else you want from him. That's not a price that you put on an 8-target kind of guy.
8 targets, 10 targets, 10 targets, 4 targets, 10 targets. I mean, come on. Like, he's going to get to at least 5 targets. You can pretty much guarantee that especially in this particular game. And especially with Antonio Gibson potentially being a little roughed up. You've got a quarterback who hasn't started. I don't know. When was the last time this guy started? Who knows? They're going to work in plays where dink and dump off to the tight end, off to J.D. McKissic. I'm super huge on McKissic. We see he has a ceiling. If this dude comes out and scores 25 fantasy points in the captain or even in the flex, you're going to have a good time. So let's move on to wide receivers for Washington. Scary Terry McLaurin, 8,800. And hit us up in the chat if you guys have any questions, guys. Please, we want to have an interactive show here. I know that there's a lot of people watching this wildcard game. We're trying to pack in as much information as quick as possible. So hit us up if you have any questions. Let us know if you want to see any captain builds. So Terry McLaurin, 8,800. One of the best wide receivers in the league. He's sort of stuck in, Washington. He's one of the best wide receivers despite being in Washington and not really having a dynamic quarterback who can throw him the ball down the field. But when it comes to Terry McLaurin, I think you can feel pretty safe with playing him in a lot of lineups. He's 35% owned, which seems a little low to me. I get it. There's a backup quarterback playing. You got to have a dude who can throw him the ball. He's not a running back. But look, even with a down week, 17 fantasy points, he had a touchdown last week. I get it. He hasn't been looking great lately, but look at these numbers. You're still getting 14s, 16s, 18s. Are you avoiding McLaurin because of the Taylor Heineke situation, or are you going to embrace him at lower ownership than he should be, in my opinion?
Yeah, I'm going to embrace him, dude. He's still one of the best players on the football field. And what's his... And, 8,800 is kind of cheap.
Pretty low for him. He was 10K last week, just to give you an idea.
I get that, I get that he's going to have that issue with the, different quarterbacks or whatever, but I don't know that, I don't know if I'm comfortable fading him. You can, with Heineke at quarterback, you got too much salary to move around. So I think you're going to be able to jam some of these guys in there since you don't have to really pay up.
A-Town, thanks for joining. Top projected captains are Brady, Jones, and Heineke.
Yeah, and actually, I did an optimal run through about 100 lineups on Roto Grinders, and it came through with 50% Heineke at captain.
Yeah, exactly. Charles, what's up, man? Tampa Bay wide receivers. We're going to talk about that in 1 second. We'll break down who we think is going to get the top targets. For right now, let's talk about Cam Sims, Steven Sims Jr., and Dontrell Inman, who was just activated, or he was activated off the practice squad, I believe. I know he's been active for this team in the past, earlier in the season. But look, Cam Sims, Steven Sims Jr., what's your thought on these guys? Can you get down to them? Look, Steven Sims Jr. at 1,200. You got Cam Sims at 4,400. You have any interest in these guys?
Yeah, absolutely I do. I don't mind getting to Cam Sims and Steven Sims. Again, I don't think this is a same lineup type of situation. But if Terry is limited at all, then you can absolutely jam both of them in the same lineup. The only issue tonight is I really don't want to have 4 Redskins. That's not the right team. Sorry, guys. 4 Washington football players on the same team or in the same lineup, right? So I honestly am going to pretty much stick to Heineke, McKissic, and then McLaurin or Logan Thomas. So that's really where most of my builds are going to go. Just because I'm uncomfortable adding the 4th in there. But if you want to pivot off of one of those guys and drop down to Sims, either of them, that's fine. Dontrell Inman, no thank you.
Yeah, no thanks. I don't think you can get to – look, I think you can have them spread through your lineups if you're doing 20, 40, 150. If you're doing 150, you should have a decent amount of Cam Sims and Steven Sims. But me personally, I'm doing 40-something lineups. They're just not working into my lineups as much, simply because you're right. I want to get a max of 3 Washington football players. And I'm not comfortable fading like McKissick or Gibson or the quarterback. So they're just going to be under-owned for me. I mean, look, if you look at Cam Sims, he's a great option, in my opinion, at that price tag. The dude ran 100%. The dude was on the field for 100% of the snaps last week. He ran more routes than Terry McLaurin. He ran more routes than Steven Sims. This guy is a number 2, but he's on the field every single down the last 3 weeks. So Cam Sims is a really great option. Consider him at that price tag because he's just going to be coming way under-owned, in my opinion. And Steven Sims Jr. is another great option at $1,200. If you had to pick one of my favorite pay down guys, $1,200 is a great option here. If you don't want with Heineke or one of these cheaper guys in the captain, Steven Sims Jr. is a nice guy to plug into the flex to allow you to get that expensive captain and still stick with the expensive flex guys. Me personally, I don't think I need to pay down that much today because I'm getting a lot of Taylor Heineke in the captain. I'm getting a lot of J.D. McKissick in the captain. So there's no reason to really have Steven Sims Jr. for me. So anything else to talk about before we move over to the other side of the ball?
No.
All right, so this is going to be the fucking Da Vinci Code here. How do we figure out where these targets are going? We obviously know Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, Mike Evans. Those are the top guys. Look, each one of these dudes, specifically Godwin and Evans, Antonio Brown a few years ago, could be the number 1 wide receiver on almost any team in the league. Who does Brady throw the ball to? Like, I don't know how to decode this situation. Like, give me your thoughts on this. Who your favorite option is for tonight based on the price. Chris Godwin's 10.2K, Antonio Brown's 9,200, Mike Evans 9,400. Go ahead.
I think this is super simple. I think you X out Tyler Johnson. I think you X out Scotty Miller unless you're in a really deep GPP. And then I think you run a rule where you have a minimum of 2 of these receivers in each lineup. I think it's even easier than that. I think you do Chris Godwin or Mike Evans and then Antonio Brown if you want to go 2 wide receivers and then stack with Tom Brady. That's literally what I'm going to be doing the most of.
I'm going to put all my money on Scotty Miller scoring a touchdown tonight now that you said that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a great way to hedge too. I mean, look, if you're going to do this, then put $20 on him to score a touchdown, right? So, I mean, you might make all your entries back. But
so let's look at the snap rate. So last week we can't really count that because Mike Evans was banged up. But the week 16, Mike Evans got 79% of the snaps, Antonio Brown 60, Chris Godwin 70. We go back one week before that, 88.9% to Mike Evans, 95 to Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown getting 50. So Antonio Brown is, he's third. He's not on the field nearly as much. I think we all know that. But when it comes to target share, he's bouncing around the last few weeks as one of the top guys. So, I mean, look, I totally agree with you. It's going to be hard to figure this out. If I look at my exposure here, I've got Antonio Brown in 55% of my lineups, Chris Godwin 33%, and wow, Mike Evans in 14%. I didn't plan that. I wasn't specifically trying to fit them in to a specific amount, but just the way I was building, those are the guys who popped. So just to give you an idea, Mike Evans is a little banged up. You know how this guy is. He can run out of the tunnel and break his leg and be out for 6 months. I don't necessarily want to risk putting him into too many of my lineups considering he was already questionable. Gronk 2 TDs tonight. Shit, I hope not, but it's possible. It's possible. So Charles, hopefully that answered your question. Let us know if you have any more questions about that. To me, if we had to rank these, I'd go Godwin, Antonio Brown. Me personally, I had more Antonio Brown just simply because of the pricing. Ellie, anything else to add to this? Is that how you're ranking things too?
Yeah, that's exactly how I'm ranking them. And look, don't get me wrong, that Mike Evans can absolutely go out there for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. 100%. I just prefer Chris Godwin. He's been healthier, and I don't know. He's literally just a younger, better version of Antonio Brown right now.
Let me run something by you here. Brady and the captain, and all 3 of these dudes in the flex. Would you ever do that?
Yeah, if we can afford it, we can actually try it too.
We should build that tonight. Okay, so let's move over. Speaking of Gronk, let's move over to tight ends. Rob Gronkowski, 5,800. He's going to be a little bit lower owned. He's not popping on the optimizers. Let me look at what I've got him for. I've got I've got like 12% of him. I don't have a lot. That scares the shit out of me because we all know that Gronk can absolutely have these 2 touchdown games. If we look at his recent performances, nothing really to write home about. You have some random scattered great games here. You have a couple 19-point games. And look, if I mean, there's actually a lot of 19-point games or a lot of ceiling type performances from him so far this year. They're just spread out. If you get that 5-point game out of him, you're screwed. If you don't have him and he gets 19.8 fantasy points, you're done for. Just close the laptop and call it a night. So what's your opinion on Gronk? And then if you look at Cameron Brate at that price tag, you have to consider Cam Brate at 1,800, right?
Yeah, maybe. I honestly don't know if you need to get that deep. Like the $6,000 quarterback thing and just the way that the pricing is kind of soft across the board for Washington. I don't know if you need to take that big of a dive into what's going on the tight end position here. Gronk, I think, is fine at 5,800. I think he absolutely has the upside to go, get 4 or 5 catches for 50 yards and a touchdown. I mean, he looks like he's dying every single time he catches it. So who knows? I wouldn't build your entire lineups around him. So
RoboCop, he looks like he was built in a fucking lab or something.
Yeah, bro. Like for real. I don't know, man. I've heard some crazy stories about him, but anyways, I digress. Look, I think Gronk's fine. Not too interested in Brate. I think you're diving pretty deep there. I think you might be able to get it different enough just by having like a guy like McKissick at captain or something along those lines. Or even Logan Thomas, right? So I don't know if I want to get down to Cameron Brate. I do like Gronk though.
I'm worried about my Gronk exposure not having enough. I'm always worried about it. I never plan to have him. He's not projecting very, very well so far today.
Yeah,
just really worries me every single time.
Yeah, but he doesn't really project well, right? Like he's just one of those guys who just out of nowhere has got 3 fucking touchdowns, and you see him running up the field. Like how did you let someone that slow and that old get past you like that?
I know. Look, to me, my biggest worry on this entire slate is Cameron Brate scoring a touchdown. That's my biggest worry. I'm not going to play him because I just can't.
Bro, I got money. My biggest worry is Tom Brady having 3 quarterback sneak touchdowns. That's my biggest worry.
No, don't you dare say that.
Oh, I got money on it. I'm hedging, bro. Yeah, okay, I've got him as anytime touchdown scorer for rushing. So
let's move over to the other side, Washington. We've got 35 minutes-ish till lock, 38 minutes. So decent amount of time. Hit us up in the chat if you want to see any builds, right before we get into our builds here. But look, we've got Logan Thomas here. Is there any even reason to Jeremy Sprinkle? I'm not interested in. Logan Thomas at 6,600, right? This guy is a grown-ass man, former quarterback. Just another reason to play this dude. Randomly, maybe a little flea flicker action, throw it down the field, get a little touchdown pass action in this game. Look, the dude's going to hit 10 fantasy points. I know that it is a backup quarterback in, but to me, that means even more so he's going to be targeted because he's a big body. If they can get into the red zone, this guy will be the target in the red zone. If you look at his last 3 weeks, you got 6 targets, 12 targets, 15 targets. And look, even beyond that, 7 targets, 9 targets. That's a lot of targets. He's going to catch a lot of those. He's going to look at this 13 catch game against Seattle, 101 yards. If he has a touchdown there, this is like one of the best tight end performances we've seen all year. So talk to me here. He's less than 30% owned. Why isn't anybody playing this guy?
I'm going to have him in damn near RB lineup. Hey, I mean, he's going to be half my captain spots. So, I don't know. I don't know why people aren't playing him. I think it just comes down to the fact that nobody knows what the fuck's going to happen with the Heineke man out there. I think that has some impact into his exposure. But at 6,600 and 25% ownership, that's an easy play for me. And if I lose, if I die, I'll die standing on this hill. If I lose because I played Logan Thomas at 25% ownership, I'm 100% okay with that.
Yeah. I agree. I tried to work him in as much as possible. I really did. And for whatever reason, I can only get with the field. I can only get right around 25% with him. It's just the way my builds worked out. It's obviously because a lot of my builds are 4-2s, maybe a couple 5-1s. I try to get 3-3s going, and he's my third favorite guy behind J.D. McKissick, Heineken man. He's my third favorite guy on the team. So he just kind of doesn't get in as many lineups. That's just the bottom line, which is a great reason to play him at captain. I have a few captain lineups with him as well. So look, we have a really low total. Well, it's not really low. It's just low for this year. And you have one team with a 17.5 point implied total. So do we have to embrace the kickers and defense here? We saw it with this Seahawks game here. In that particular situation, kickers and defense are popping with a lower total. I know it's sort of cliche to just say, oh, well, let's play a bunch of kickers and defense with a lower total. It doesn't always have to be that way. But in this case, I think you have to really consider Ryan Suckup at 3,800 and Dustin Hopkins at 3,600, specifically Dustin Hopkins, considering the fact that this team might just die in the red zone. They might not be able to punch it in, or, be right outside the red zone and have to kick a longer field goal. What are your thoughts on kickers and defense, specifically kickers for right now?
Yeah, sure. Kickers are in play. The only concern that I have with the Dustin Hopkins, though, is kind of just what we were talking about in the last game or in one of the games, that if this does become a night where it is a blowout, Washington, there's no reason for them to start kicking field goals if they're losing by more than 4 after halfway through the third quarter. So remember, that's going to impact my overall exposure to Dustin Hopkins just in the meantime. But he does have the potential of getting you there because this is a really good Washington defense. So if they're able to keep this game a little bit closer, then I think Washington is going to tend to take the points. Hopefully they're learning from some of these earlier games where you just can't just fucking go for it every fourth down. This isn't Madden, right? Like you can't rage quit. So I don't know that. I hope Ron Rivera is not going to do that. But then again, he got his name Riverboat Ron for making these kind of moves.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
I think he's in play. I don't know if I'll get there. Again, I think this slate's priced way too soft, so kickers aren't really my priority. On the other side of the ball, if we're looking at Ryan Suckup, I mean, it's just hard to ignore the fact that he was in the optimal. He was the optimal captain, like week 4. So, I don't want to forget that shit. I don't think I can, or whatever it was. I think it was actually against was it the Giants or the?
Potentially, he had 15 fantasy points, and it was a 25-23 game. I'm guessing that he was the guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, I don't think that fucking matters. But look, he does have the potential to break the slate, and this could be one of those ones where they kind of just kick some lazy field goals when they're up by 10 halfway through the third quarter, right? If they stall out, they're not going to go for it, right? So he does have that potential, and if this game is looking at a 2018 total for Tampa, which is that right? Was I over?
27 something.
Yeah, so I mean that's essentially 4 touchdowns, or at least 3 touchdowns and a field goal. So you can kind of project kind of what kind of points that you're expecting from him just based on that point projection. So I do think he's interesting as well. This is the one slate where both of them are going to be a little bit more viable for me. Again, it's just looking at how my builds are going right now, I just don't know if it's necessary.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, look, typically speaking, these kickers are always over-owned in Showdown, in my opinion, because their median projection is a lot higher than people at their price range. So the optimizers just automatically will plug in the kickers, and you have to actively avoid them on your own. If you have to limit them, you have to X amount of your player pool, whatever it is, when you're doing some of these crunches. So their ownership is always overinflated. But in my opinion, around 20% for these guys is okay, especially Dustin Hopkins. For whatever reason, he's not projecting well. Look at his past performances. I can't believe we're talking about a kicker for more than fucking 2 minutes here. But look, you have to consider it.
Right.
There's a lot of green there. If this dude gets you 13 fantasy points at that price tag, if he's one of your 2 or 3 Washington players, he might win you some money. If he can get you 14 fantasy points, I mean, look, they scored 17 points there. They scored 16 points. All this green is like low scoring games, 15 points. So to me, I'm gonna try to get way above on Dustin Hopkins if I can. I know I've crunched out most of my lineups here, but when we build, maybe we should try to work in Dustin Hopkins a little bit more, because 15% ownership is not cutting it for me. I think you got to be way higher than that. So defenses, look, you have a scrub quarterback. No offense if Taylor Heineke's watching this. Sorry, man. You're probably a really good guy, but I don't see you scoring more than 17 points tonight. Neither does anybody else. Neither does Vegas. So look, if you're Buccaneers defense here at 4,800, pretty underpriced for a defense that's going up against a backup quarterback. So they weren't really popping for me in the optimizers. Their median projection is a little bit lower than maybe it should be, but at the same time, 4,800 is probably what's causing them to not make it into a lot of my lineups. So what's your thought overall on a 20% owned Buccaneers defense in the same lineup as Heineke?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, if you're going to do it, that's absolutely going to be the way to do it, because if he throws a pick six, he's going to have to come back out and throw again, right? I mean, immediately. So
-1 points for him and 6 points for the other team. So it's a net positive.
Yeah, exactly. It's nothing worth getting too frustrated about. So I think you might as well do it. And here's the thing, right? If you're projecting that there's a possibility that this team is going to have a pick six, you are absolutely fine playing them not at captain, but in the flex. The only thing that I want to point out, though, is just given their price, and again, some of the soft pricing across the slate, I think you have some guys who are going to have a much higher ceiling, right? And I understand that you have a Todd Bowles defense that they can take they can house turnovers. So
yeah.
I definitely think they're viable. It's just crazy enough. I don't think I'm getting to them. Dude, this pricing's soft. Hopefully you guys will see it when we start building here. I don't know if you need to get too crazy with it tonight.
Bobby Trees touchdown. How the fuck are the Rams gonna win? Like, see the Seahawks, what happened?
They just melted down.
Russell Wilson was an MVP candidate. He threw for 40 touchdowns this year and 7 interceptions. What the fuck happened to this team? 30-13 with 4 minutes left. Unbelievable. Anyways, let's move on.
Yes.
All the time.
Yeah, it's harder when we're doing the shows. Like I'm doing I've done 20 max for all the showdowns today. So I build my lineups through Roto Grinders, and then Tyson uses Fantasy Cruncher. Yeah,
I did 42 lineups for every single slate today so far. When it comes to 150 max, not as much anymore. I don't love the odds on that, and it just takes a long ass time for the way I build. All right, so anyways, Washington football team at 3K. No reason to play. Like, I know Washington football team is a good defense. They can get a couple sacks on Brady. We know Brady can turn the ball over. We've seen it happen. Is there any reason to try to get Washington football team into defense into any of your lineups? I think I'd rather not waste a spot. They're 3K. They're 3K. There's a lot better value on the slate, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it with the groundbreaking analysis there. I don't know. I don't know that I want that. The team they're playing is projected to score 28 points. So that's an automatic 0 from the defensive side of the ball. So are they getting a pick six, or are they getting 16 sacks? Those are really the only two things that would make them interesting to me.
All right, so we're going to get into a rapid round here. Favorite running back? Go.
J.D. McKissic.
Favorite wide receiver?
Chris Godwin.
Favorite tight end?
Gronk. No, take it back. Logan Thomas. Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah. How many truly? By the way, you owe us a fucking truly chug.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move over to our fade of the night here. Let me set up my screen capture here. Sorry, guys. 1 second.
Everyone else can watch me while I drink, then.
Do it, bro. All right. This is our fade of the night.
What's your name? Tony! Fuck you, Tony!
Ellie, go ahead. Washington football defense.
Yeah, man. Just not feeling it. I don't think that it's a great play tonight. And I was kind of uncomfortable just picking anybody out of a hat to really just fade. I think yours is the closest that I would get to being comfortable with fading anybody. But the pricing is just too fucking soft that it's gonna be hard to not get to some of these guys. You know what I mean? So I think that's where I'm coming from for Washington football team.
Look, this hurts my soul here, man. I love Antonio Gibson so much. I want him to go off in this game. I just don't see it happening. I don't see him getting the opportunity to run the ball 15 to 20 times. If anybody's going to be targeted at the backfield, we've seen him get some targets, but look, J.D. McKissic is my guy. We got to fade somebody. We just got to fade somebody from Washington. I'd rather go with the quarterback, McKissick, Logan Thomas, McLaurin, those guys, as opposed to anything else. And yes, hey, sometimes we pack it in. Sometimes I'm not willing to get the criticism on my end. A-Town down. I want to learn to use Fantasy Cruncher. I hand build everything. What's the best way to learn? Hey, hit us up on Twitter, man. Actually, I think we should do a little tutorial video one of these days on this. It's pretty straightforward. Once you get used to it, just like any other software, it's just using your own preferences to kind of figure out how to get it to work. There's a ton of tutorials out there that you can look at. We can try to hook you up with a few, or I can walk you through it one of these days. It's not a huge deal.
So this might be a little bit too far out. We can kind of give you a crash course there, but March 8th, I believe, is a pretty stacked UFC card. That's UFC is where we got really good at learning how to use the optimizers, because you have to take into account the fact that it's a fucking 6-man parlay and ownership is just so tight. So it gives you a little bit of an easier way to learn how to use it. So maybe we can do a live show for that.
Yeah, let's do that. I mean, look, I'm not an expert. I'm not Pete the Heat Rogers when it comes to actual UFC guys. We just look at the numbers and we plug it in. We're playing a game, and that's what it works out for us. We've done really well in UFC. So UFC is great for learning League of Legends, Call of Duty, those kind of soft like competition. Like there's some good competition for UFC, but my point is go with that kind of stuff to get used to it.
League of Legends and Call of Duty are great for learning how to stack appropriately.
Yes.
And when you're doing MME.
All right, let's move on to our Crown Their Ass segment, our favorite captain on DraftKings.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
Ellie, I got the old school Logan Thomas from college. I just wanted to show this dude can throw the ball. He's probably a better quarterback than Taylor Heineke. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, look, dude, he's $6,600. He's going to get targeted 74 times. And they're probably going to be losing most of the game. So, look, I don't know how to get too crazy about this. I love Logan Thomas at the captain. And I think you'll see why when we start building.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, look, I don't know anything about this guy, but $6K for a quarterback, and he's less than 30% owned. He's less than 8% owned in the captain. I think that's going to go up a little bit, but if in fact he's less than 10% owned in the captain, there's no reason not to play him. I can get a high amount of points in my captain, and in the flex, I can get everyone else I want, and I don't have to worry about anything else. I feel better putting him at captain than a lot of these other guys priced around him, although Logan Thomas is a really good option as well. All right, so let's do a lineup build, bro. Let's do it.
Yeah, okay.
Y'all ready for this?
Let's do it.
All right. So who do you guys want to see us build with first? I think we should stick with the chalk builds. Let's go with Tom Brady at captain. Excuse me. And see how we can put Tom Brady at captain. And let's see the optimal off of that. And we're going to find out real quick what the chalk is going to be.
Oh, God damn it.
Zero it out.
All right. McKissick, Thomas, Rojo, Gibson, Heineke. Oh, cool. That makes your Gibson fade a lot stronger if that's the optimal.
Yeah. And look, this is going to be one of the chalkiest lineups out there. This will, if you entered this into the Millie Maker or whatever that big tournament is, you're going to have 50 to 100 dupes. You're going to lose money winning first place. Let's build from here. Hopkins captain build. Let's do it. We've seen a captain go off once or twice. I'm not going to play any of that, but let's give the people what they want here. So, but. First, let's do Brady, bro. Let's do Brady first.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, we'll get to the Hopkins build in a minute. We've got about 20 minutes to lock, guys. So make sure you're getting your lineups in.
So I'm comfortable with this just right out the gate.
Yeah. So we want to do a 3-3 here.
Yeah, I think we're turned up. Let's see what we get to. Yeah. See, this is the problem. This is why I'm going to be so heavy on 3-3. It's just so much easier to build this way. And you got 5,600 left.
Is this a Gronk situation? Oh, okay, 58. Buccaneers defense, maybe. Fournette,
That's
maybe.
I mean, this isn't terrible either. Let's see what happens if we go down to Antonio Brown, though.
DK Metcalf touchdown.
I mean, you can do this.
Gronk, Heineke, McKissick, Thomas. Look, let's try this. Clear everything out except for Tom Brady. Let's build the lineup I was talking about. We're going to build a onslaught 4-2 Buccaneers lineup. Let's put in all the wide receivers. AB. Let's put in Godwin. Let's put in Evans. Let's see if this works out here. It's a little overkill. Don't get me wrong. And yeah, we'll definitely Eric Bookie. We'll definitely throw in some Ronald Jones or some Fournette for sure. I think it's an obvious choice. So this is overkill, obviously, but there's a situation where this can actually go off here. I just want to see how the build works out. So 3,800 remaining Dustin Hopkins. So you got Steven Sims Jr., Dustin Hopkins, and you got an onslaught. This is risky. This is a milli maker sort of lineup here. I'm not entering this into a single entry or anything like that. All right, let's clear that out.
Oh, hold on. I like that. I want to try one.
Without Evans? Yeah, I agree.
So come from there. I don't mind. What is 7,400? Give us.
Let's get to the quarterback.
Oh, yeah. I keep forgetting he's fucking cheap. And that leaves us another 1,400. So can we come off of
Scotty Miller? No.
Not really.
Cameron Braid?
Yeah.
I'd rather go Steven Sims, especially considering
it's a 5-1.
5-1.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, a 5-1 can absolutely win tonight. Tonight, if any night, would be the time to do it. It's just kind of difficult to get to that, in my opinion. So
Could be real crazy.
Yeah, right. So what sort of contest are you entering with Tom Brady and captain? You're not doing milli makers. You're not doing 50,000 plus entries with Tom Brady unless you're willing to really get crazy. And I'm not willing to get too crazy in the flex. I'd rather just go a little bit different in the captain. What kind of lineups are you? Just single entries and cash, right?
Yeah, single entries and cash. I think that's fine to do. Really, outside of that, it's just too much.
Okay, let's build with one of the wide receivers, then we'll get to a kicker captain here in a minute. So stick with us, guys. Who do you want to build with next?
I think we go with our captains.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I want to start with Logan. I know he's not 6K, but it's still nice.
Got to get Ronald Jones in there too. We got to get a Ronald Jones lineup here. Tom Brady, Ronald Jones.
That's my 3. And is it
Heineke.
Taylor? That's 5,900. You know,
Malcolm, your wishes are command here. So Heineke, McKissick. I like that. And you got Ronald Jones eating up all the rushing. Godwin, high upside. Thomas can get you a few touchdowns and a few garbage time catches too.
Yeah, man. Like I like it. And then so you can come down a little bit lower. What did I have?
And A-Town with MMA, look at like odds. Like your sports book is your biggest tool. Like look at knockout first round KO odds, all that kind of stuff.
Ronald Jones, yeah. Now we're starting to dive a little bit deep.
Gronk.
I don't know if I want to leave that much salary on the table. But, I mean, if you feel like coming off of McKissick, I mean, this isn't a bad, like, reverse 2-4, whatever.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I like 2-4s tonight because garbage time 2-4s work out a lot because you get all those random-ass catches in the fourth quarter and all these boosted stats that don't mean anything, and you still end up with, a lot of fantasy points for the team that's getting their ass kicked somehow. Did you enter this lineup? Are you going to enter this lineup?
Yes, I did, dude. He's captain for how many do I have? Let's see. I have him at captain at least half.
That's good.
70% of my captain.
Damn. Well, fucking A. I love it. All right. So let's do a McKissick captain. Then we'll do a kicker captain, and then we'll get crazy. We'll do some Antonio Brown shit. We'll go down those roads there.
All right. So we are doing McKissick.
I feel you, man.
These are my only two captains, by the way.
Interesting. Yeah, pretty much me too. McKissick, Heineke, and Logan Thomas. Those are my only captains, I think.
Do we want Taylor?
Yeah.
And what do you want to do? You want to go 4-2 or 2-4? Or do you want to go 3-3 and throw in Logan Thomas? Or
3-3. Let's go 3-3 and see what happens. I want to throw in McLaurin. We haven't done any McLaurin here.
Scary Terry. I think this is a good time to go Evans.
You could maybe go up from him to, 6.9K maybe? Almost. Ooh.
Oh, gosh.
Go down. Can you go down from Evans to AB?
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about.
I don't know if it's going to give us quite enough, though. I think we needed 300.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Yeah, we're just short.
All right, so instead of Scary Terry, what can you do?
You know what I'm going to say.
Yeah, let's do that. I like the correlation better.
Dude, it's just so hard. He's going to get 16 targets. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And then if you do that, you can actually. Well, you know what? What did we have there? We do this? Oh, almost.
9,100. Oh, I feel like you're right. You got to get two receivers for Tampa Bay, whether that be tight end. I mean, not necessarily like pass catchers. You need at least two.
Yeah, I agree. I don't mind this.
Eric Bookie says now go up from Brown.
I don't have Brown in anymore, dude.
We're on a slight delay, I think.
Oh, okay.
I like this. Let's do one without Heineke. So that leaves us 7,100. We've got two Washington players. Let's try to fit one more Washington player in. If not, we can switch it up from there.
Let's see. What if we do?
Rams winning by 10 with 2 minutes left. Unbelievable. We've got about 13 minutes to lock. Let's do a Dustin Hopkins one after this. Yeah, Fournette. That's not bad. Actually, I really want to do a Fournette and Ronald Jones double up handcuff lineup one of these times. Maybe our kicker. Maybe when we have our kicker and the captain, we'll do that.
What about this? McKissick, Brady, McLaurin, Thomas, Brown, Gronk.
I love that. Cooper Kupp going to the locker room. All right, let's do a kicker captain.
Who the fuck is Josh Green? Kicker captain.
Who is that?
He's starting in place of Josh Richardson, who is on COVID protocols. Dude, the NBA is going to get shut down again. Like, they've got too many teams just getting fucked up tonight.
No bubble.
Yeah. All right. Dustin Hopkins, you said?
Hopkins, not DeAndre.
Probably going to score more. Granted, he's playing today, so that helps. So if you're doing this, I assume you're doing this too. Let's throw in fucking Taylor Swift too. Oh, damn it. I mean, that's fine. I don't want to do that anyway. I don't want all three.
So Taylor Swift and DeAndre Hopkins. That's your Washington players. This is an onslaught here. Yeah.
I like this though. This isn't terrible. 88. You're
like, nah.
look, man, I hope this takes it down, kind of. But I still want to win too. But good luck
Raph,
to you if you decide to run this.
y'all prefer McKissick rather than Gibson. Absolutely. And the only reason why is not because Gibson is a better player. I'm talking game script. The way I'm building Washington football team is going to be getting their ass kicked. They're going to be dinking and dumping to McKissick. They're not going to give Gibson 15 carries if they're down by fucking 21 points. That's why I say this. All right, let's do this handcuff build.
Bro,
Hopkins,
I can't believe they're going to lose this game.
I can't either. See, come on, Russell Wilson. Are you kidding me?
Who's our captain? Handcuff? Rojo?
Let's do Rojo at captain. Beal out. I'm scared if Doncic is out. Is Doncic out?
No, he's not.
He's not. Okay. Well, it could happen. All right. So Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette. Let's fade Tom Brady in this lineup. This is going to be a cray-cray, Millie Maker sort of lineup here. Let's go Taylor Swift. Let's go one wide receiver. Yeah, do your Logan Thomas thing. It's all good.
Or do you want to do? Or were you talking about wide receiver from Washington?
I'm sorry. Let's go one wide receiver from the Buccaneers.
Okay, then I say Antonio Brown. And then who else?
That was a nice lineup. Yep, I feel you, bro. Okay, so what do we got here? We got 9,200. We got Godwin, Fournette, Ronald Jones. Let's go with Gronk or Brait. Let's go with one of these tight ends here. That puts us at 12K. I mean, this is not necessary. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's Tom Brady. You just got to play Tom Brady. I mean, there's really no reason. If you're playing Taylor Swift, Heineke, you pretty much just got to put Tom Brady in because you're not going to be able to spend the salary. And I'm not afraid to leave like 5,000 plus on the table, but
I don't know if you need to tonight. Look, see, this is the thing though. Like, I mean, this isn't terrible. Rojo, Fournette, Tom Brady, Logan Thomas, McLaurin, Heineke.
Yeah, exactly. I actually love that lineup. Now, there's not going to be a single person that has this lineup duped with you. Probably for good reason. Probably because it's not a very good lineup. But these are the kind of lineups that fucking win first place solo.
Well, dude, and look, if they're going to be up by 10, 15 points, what did Tom Brady throw for 4 touchdowns and like 350 yards last game in the first half? Yeah, I mean, if that shit happens tonight, Fournette and Rojo are going to get the wheels beat off of them. So I don't know.
All right, I got to enter that lineup. I'm entering this one. Let me see if there's anything available here. So hit us up in the chat, guys. Thank you for joining us once again. Stick with us past lock. We're going to be looking at some ownership here, and then we'll get out of your hair. 3 live shows today. I'm going to go have some beer, or some Truly or something, and watch some football. I got to do a large field here. Let me do this one. No, I need the largest field available. Fuck it. I'll do a $10. It's my birthday weekend. I'll fucking do it. All right. I'm going to enter this one.
Bro, this Miami Heat game is going to score like 160 points per team. Like this.
So, Ellie, Malcolm's asking MVP for Fanduel. I'm going to switch back to – I'm going to get off your screen share so you can check this out. So what are your thoughts on MVP for Fanduel? You just got to go Tom Brady, right?
Tom Brady, yeah, I think you're spot on. I wouldn't get too crazy there just because you don't have the salary issues.
Yeah, exactly. Like with FanDuel, obviously you're not penalized for salary, so just go with the highest probability guy. If you want to get freaky with it, you can go with Godwin or one of these super high upside wide receivers that have 3 receptions for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns sort of upside.
Send it back to me, dude.
All right, here we go. Oh, shit. Yeah, there you go.
All right. Well, this builds the fuck out the optimals. We'll do it here too. So the immediate optimal is not optimizing.
Chris Carson looked good. Yeah. I feel you, Bookie.
All right, so Tom Brady is coming in at 87% of the optimal lineup. So that's something to think about. If you want to look at some of the lineups we got here, you got Tom Brady MVP, Terry, McLaurin, Rojo, Godwin, Heineke. Heineke's Stoneman on
Yeah, you got to play him.
yeah, he's a lock. See, what kind of is this cash? I can't see the chat.
I'm sorry, what's that? It's just MVP Fanduel. So I'm assuming probably, tournament. I'm assuming for Malcolm, right? Malcolm, what are you playing? Tournaments? I'm sure we're talking tournaments here.
Yeah, I guess Tom Brady just makes so much more sense there. I don't mind some Chris Godwin ones though, right? Like, let's see what.
Gerald Everett had zero fantasy points.
Yep.
8 down. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it. Yeah. Malcolm says, yeah, tournaments.
I mean, look, this isn't terrible. Godwin, McLaurin, Rojo, Heineke, Brady. What can you get?
High upside. Yeah.
So who do we have right now? We got McLaurin. I mean, you can swap off to Godwin if you want. Oh, you have to do 3, huh?
That's interesting. Yeah, FanDuel, I just don't like I don't like it, man.
I mean, what's Logan Thomas coming in? He's only at 30% projected ownership on FanDuel. Obviously, Taylor Heineke is not 0%. I don't know if they even bothered updating the projections here because he's obviously probably going to be the same exposure that Alex Smith would have been, around 40, 45.
Yeah.
But I definitely think this is a viable lineup if you're in a little bit deeper GPP. Do you have a specific MVP you want us to try and build with?
I think you just got to go with Tom Brady at MVP. I mean, I think historically speaking, with FanDuel, just go with the quarterback, the highest price quarterback. You're not penalized for it.
Oh shit, that's right. You got to do it this way, huh? All right, let's see what this gives us. Logan Thomas, Antonio Gibson. I'm not sure I feel that way. 15-5. You can still do whatever you want here.
I'm worried about Gibson going off. I don't see it happening.
All right, and this is fine too, Logan Thomas. I think this is what I just built though, right? No, it's not, because I had Godwin and captain. But anyways, I mean, 79 projected points. I think these are all viable. Tom Brady just has to be the captain, pretty much, if you're doing MME. You can get a little bit crazy, but you really got to account for the 29 projected points as opposed into your projections. Nobody else is really close.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Ellie. So we've got 3 minutes to lock. Any roster construction tips for everyone? How are you building? Talk us through how you're typically building today. You're locking in your captain in the optimizer that you love. You're crunching out a couple hundred lineups, and you're going through manually and sort of finding the best ones. How are you building today?
I'll show you guys right now. I mean, it's pretty straightforward for my building style, right? It's exactly what Tyson said. He said, lock in the captain, and I'm going to come over here to my build rules and just change my players per team. I only want a maximum of 3 from each, and then I'm just going to let it ride. And I intentionally did this. I think I have 1-4-2 lineup. I'm going 3-3.
Because there's 100%. Oh shit. There's 100% difference in ownership. So you're just going to be different by having 3 Washington players in your lineup. That's why you're doing that, right?
Exactly. And so here's the other thing that I'm going to do, right? I got McKissick, and I know I want Brady. I locked him in my particular builds, but I also want Godwin. So now I'm filtered down to 3 lineups off of those build rules that I just put in, and I'll go through and look at them. I don't want Buccaneers defense, but this isn't terrible. Logan Thomas, Fournette, McKissick, Godwin, McLaurin, Brady, right?
Yeah. And you'll go through and just hit the like button on these lineups. It saves it into a separate folder, sort of. Right. and then you can go from there and kind of figure out your exposure.
They look chalky as hell. Hey, man, look,
sometimes just win. Worry about it later. I mean, if you have a strategy that you want to, get less than 10 dupes on a certain lineup, then absolutely. But sometimes we're finding out with Showdown, just get the best possible lineup out there and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, man, it may not be the same as winning 50K solo, but splitting 50K with 25 other people and winning, 4,500 isn't shitty, right? So
whatever can save you from, depositing.
Whatever
can save you from depositing.
Just play cash. Hey, dude, if you don't like your lineups, play the chalky lineup in cash. I was playing cash NBA last night, and I was playing cash NFL today. Nobody had Josh Allen in my cash contest.
Crazy. It's crazy.
Yes, which is absolutely insane, right? People are trying.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, the field's just getting smarter now, right? And I think they're trying to jam in weird shit. I don't think you need to do that. You can beat the field by not being weird.
So we are at lock. Let me wait for this to update. We're in that weird zone where nothing is happening, nothing's populating. So give it another minute or so. We can look at ownership. Once again, thank you guys for joining us. Let us know in the comments, after the video's over, after the game's over, let us know how you guys did. We appreciate that. And A-Town down, unfortunately, no. Unfortunately, we've done about 4 hours of live broadcasting today. I'm gonna watch some fucking foosball, man, with them gargantuans, and I'm gonna enjoy myself, have a couple drinks. But we're gonna be back for NBA on Monday, most likely. All right, so we got ownership here. Let's take a look at this here. 200K to first. That's the contest I'm looking for. All right, so Taylor Swift. Taylor Heineke, 35% owned, way too low. 6% in the captain, dude.
Oh, we didn't build one with him at captain. Sorry, guys.
That's all right. I don't think anybody wants to do that.
Logan Thomas is 5.5% at captain. 47 overall.
He's in the big contest. He's 3.8% at captain.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Ronald Jones, 50% owned ish, 10% in the captain. Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Everybody's got him. He's 90% owned with 25% in the captain. Chris Godwin, 60%-ish, 10% in the captain. J.D. McKissick, this is interesting. 38% total owned and 4% in the captain. That's way too fucking low.
What's Heineke in yours?
He's 8%, I think. Is that what I said?
No, it just in flex.
35.
Bro, he's 24% in my contest.
Really? Mike Evans is the lowest owned Tampa Bay wide receiver. I can see that. It's still scary. Absolutely scary. Logan, 30%. Interesting. I think we're higher on him than the field, I think. That's pretty obvious.
Look, I think everyone's expecting a blowout here. Guys, look, I know it probably should be a blowout, but this is the fucking NFL. These are professional athletes. There's pride associated with this. There are players that will get cut or will get released and not re-signed after this game, right? This could be
playoff.
Yeah, it's the playoffs.
Playoffs? We'll talk about playoffs.
No, I am talking about
me?
playoffs, Jim Mora.
Playoffs?
I am.
Oh shit! Sorry, guys.
All right. So Ellie, you're right. Look, this is a playoff game. These are professional football players. They've been doing this their entire lives. I think the Buccaneers are going to win this game handily. But there's a chance that we get a little higher upside from Washington football team. It's a good story for them. The team with no name, the team with no quarterback. Maybe they can have a little bit higher of an output this week. I don't see them winning, but obviously, like I said, if they can score 21 points, I'll be surprised and I'll be happy. So, Ellie, what's your prediction for this game? Final score, can it hit the over?
I don't remember what the over was, but yeah, I'm sure it can.
I think it was 45-ish.
Oh, yeah. I think it will, to be honest with you.
Yeah, 45 was the total. And I think, to be honest, can the Buccaneers hit that on their own? Can they hit the total on their own? Any prop bets for the second half? Or are you looking to do any prop bets live betting during this game since you're in a legal state?
I mean, if you guys want to hear, I have no problem rattling off the bets that I've already placed.
Apparently Fournette is in the game right now. That's scary, Chaz. That's scary. Ellie, go ahead. Continue.
I have Chris Godwin to score the first touchdown.
Come
I have
on.
Tom Brady to score a rushing touchdown.
Come on.
I have Rob Gronkowski to score the first touchdown as well. So,
All right.
those are the three that I'm looking at. And then I had Cam Akers to score the first touchdown last game, which hasn't showed me he's lost yet. So, fuck you.
Yeah, you lost that.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Get ready to join us tomorrow. We appreciate your guys' support. We're going to be live again for 3 shows tomorrow. So hang out with us. Send us a like on your way out. We really appreciate the help. Helps us with YouTube. We're a new channel. We're trying to gain followers. If you're not following us, please just hit that button for subscribe. We really appreciate it. And we're going to see you next time. Thanks a lot, guys. See you later.